Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Till Death Do Us Scream. I'm, of course, Rob, and this is my lovely wife, Mayhem Mel.
What's up?
First of all, as we always say, we thank you so much for your continued love and support. If you would, please do the thing, like and subscribe. It won't cost you a damn thing if you like what we're doing, you like our content. With that, we are going to get to our episode. First of all, 20 years.
20 years?
20 years. We're celebrating the 20th anniversary right now as we speak. This month was 20 years for Constantine.
Oh my god.
Starring Keanu Reeves, directed by Francis Lawrence, co-starring the absolutely stunning Rachel Weisz. But yeah, this is a banger still.
Oh yeah, it holds up.
Oh yeah. Before we get into details when it comes to the movie and stuff, I can tell that there were certain flourishes that, mirror other things. I guess they had to do it. Let's get into the history of Constantine real quick, as we do with every movie. So this is actually based off a comic series called Hellblazer, created by, the character was introduced in Swamp Thing. I think Alan Moore was the creator, along with Garth Ennis, I think, later on.
Okay.
But yeah, this was like a really very British comic. The character of John Constantine was supposed to actually resemble Sting. So if you recall, when they put the series on TV, that's what Constantine looks like.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Blonde. It's taken so many different iterations. There was a female iteration in the Sandman series or whatever. So it really doesn't necessarily have, any real roots that are kind of planted to it. So, but still, because of the fact that it is a UK comic and, they're very kind of prideful when it comes to the, certain characters and whatnot, they had a really hard time making this. Nobody wanted Keanu Reeves to do it. Originally, it was actually supposed to be Nicolas Cage, believe it or not. The original idea was to have Tarsem Singh, who directed The Cell, do it. Tarsem Singh was he did the Jennifer Lopez movie The Cell, which is another
cult
classic. It's beautiful. So could you imagine the world of Constantine through that guy's eye? I wish there was a place where you could time travel to see that.
Right?
Some alternate dimension. By the way, where's our cat so we can go to hell?
Oh, I kicked her out of the room because she was already starting her shenanigans.
Got it. Okay. All right. So looks like we're planted here on Earth for tonight. When this came out, it wasn't a barn burner at the box office. It did make its budget back. I think it took some time to kind of, gain some steam in terms of the fan base and whatnot. Very loyal following right now, for sure.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can watch this movie over and over and over again.
The whole thing with, this particular series is that people have just been begging for a sequel. Keanu Reeves just recently did an interview with the director. They said they were working on a script. I guess they finally got the green light to be able to kind of create an idea for a sequel. But out of everything, out of John Wick, out of Neo, out of all these different characters that he played, Johnny Utah, Ted, this is the character he's aching to come back to. And I can see why. It's very intricate. You can do a lot with him. Melody, what is the story of Constantine? Where do we
So begin? This movie starts out, we have two guys down in Mexico, and they're kind of just digging around, and it's one guy, he steps into a spot where a hole appears. And he reaches in, and what he finds is the Spear of Destiny. Immediately, because
it's a spear of destiny.
He grabs it, he runs off, immediately gets hit by a car. A mark appears on it, and he jumps up. Obviously, he's possessed by a demon. Okay, a demon has taken his body. And he runs off and disappears. Next scene, you see John Constantine is being called into this apartment where a young girl has been possessed by a demon. Then he begins to realize that this isn't a normal kind of possession, and he ends up ripping the demon out of her, goes into a mirror. They shoot the mirror down into the street, and he sees a picture with the Spear of Destiny in it, and he realizes this isn't normal. Something's going on. And he has his...
What was the opening line of the movie when he actually like sees the possessor like inside the young girl? Do you remember? It's so awesome. He goes, "I'm John Constantine, asshole."
Mm-hmm.
We forgot to mention John's a little bit of a prick.
Yeah, while his assistant is down in the cab trying to pretend like he's John Constantine.
Played by Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf.
Very young.
Very young Shia LaBeouf, yes.
Husband of Mia Goth, by the way.
Yes. So, he ends up finding his priest friend and, takes off his amulet, says, "You don't need this. I need you for the next couple of days to find anything for me. This is bigger than we realize."
Father Hennessy or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see the twin of Weiss. What's her character's name?
Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz.
So she plays a cop or detective.
Detective.
Her sister Isabel was in a mental facility, and she ended up jumping off and committing suicide, which, her sister is basically trying to find out the whole situation.
Her sister jumps off, and obviously, she goes the next day and she actually sees her sister. She goes to the Catholic Church and she runs into John Constantine. Her and they're at the same time. Of course, he's being a dick, and he's like, first come, first serve. She splits off to talk to, I think it was the bishop, or
I think so.
Yeah, and then he goes off to talk to Gabriel.
Yeah.
The
Played by
angel.
the wonderful Tilda Swinton.
Oh yes.
The only woman to be able to play
she's
Gabriel.
talking to him like my sister was a devout Catholic. There's no way she would have committed suicide.
Yeah.
John Constantine is talking to Gabriel about I don't want to go to hell.
Well, can I tell you something interesting and fucked up? When I had actually lost my faith as a Catholic, it was simply because my grandmother, during my aunt's funeral, because we're getting into some details here when it comes to me, my aunt had committed suicide. She said to go speak to the father. So I spoke to the father. Father basically told me the same thing.
Yeah.
So I went outside and
suicide, it was a moral sin. She's going to be in hell. Yeah.
I had like a Bram Stoker's Dracula moment where I was like, I denounce thee! And I went outside and just basically just renounced my faith in that. But yeah, that was basically what I was told. Like, she'll either go to purgatory if she's lucky, or she'll go straight to hell. He
runs off in the rain, ignoring his sidekick, goes back to his place, and then she goes back to her place, and that's where she sees the video saying to look for John Constantine. And she goes and she knocks on John Constantine's door. She's like, "There's no way my sister would have killed herself," and he basically tells her to go fuck herself, and kicks her out of his apartment. But then he sees... No,
he actually says, she says, "I need you to show me the way," and he goes...
out the door. Yeah, out the door. Like, that way.
This is before... Oh, okay, we should also mention, too, this is a very important aspect of the story, is that John is dying from cancer. These are killing him. So there is sort of like a redemption arc for him in terms of like he's just trying to do things that are proper to hopefully gain entrance into heaven. I also do want to mention this is also an important thing. I'd mentioned that Constantine is based in the UK, so we'll see, like in the comics, you'll see like the setting of London or whatever. So they had to really fight tooth and nail because Francis Lawrence, the director, who of course went on to do this shit like Hunger Games and all kinds of stuff. This dude's like a really serious, real deal guy. He can make a popcorn blockbuster, but he wanted it in Los Angeles because City of Sin, blah blah blah, and they really fought for that location, and he got what he wanted, and I think it works really well.
It does. It does. So anyways, he sees winged creatures flying by his window, immediately shoots out because she had left, and basically her eyes are opened to like the spiritual world. You know what I mean? At that point, he saves her life.
Well, she has a secret that she's been hiding, supposedly.
Well, yeah, that her and her sister both can see. They're both very strong psychics. She wants to see again. So, she wants to know if her sister actually committed suicide or not, if she was in hell. So she brings John Constantine back to her apartment. She gets this pan of water to put by his feet.
Where's our goddamn cat? We need to get to Hades, Mel.
He takes her cat and he says that, cats are perfect. They're halfway in, halfway out. Mm-hmm. So he tells her she has to leave the apartment.
Explain what halfway in, halfway out means.
Halfway in, halfway out. Okay, so cats technically are supposed to be like the guardians of the dead. Mm-hmm. So they are like half in the spiritual realm, half in the realm. Earthly realm. So he puts his feet in the water and then he holds the cat's face and stares in its eyes, and boom, he's in hell. Mm-hmm. He sees, he's going through this wasteland, this absolutely I
want to mention this too as well. So this is a very important thing because the actual setting for hell was all practical for the most part. Mm-hmm. Nothing was CG except for the actual sulfuric winds and shit like that.
And probably the demons too.
So, well, of course, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of that stuff, they'd even said that they had built demons, like, to put in cars just so when Keanu's going through that set, like, he would actually feel like he's in...
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he has this little crystal ball with him that apparently that's what he has to smash to be able to get out of there. He finds her sister and he calls out Isabel. She turns around and looks at him, which would have been the same thing that she did before she jumped. Mm-hmm. She takes off her wristband. She says, John Constantine, and lets go of her medical wristband thing. And he runs to catch it while the demons are chasing after him. He gets the wristband and then he smashes the ball on his chest as the demons are trying to surround him.
Yeah, it's awesome. They're mm-hmm. trying to like form this huddle or whatever. He just basically does like a, just a Super Bowl play and grabs this fucking thing out of the air.
Right.
Yeah. So he comes back and he's smoking like he'd just been somewhere.
And then he's like, yeah, she killed herself. And then he had brought the wristband tag from hell.
And I want to mention this too because, like, before the scene, he tells Rachel Weisz to get out of the apartment, and there's a lot of people that have been, kind of chastised for using slow motion like way too much. I think in this movie it's done really, really well, and it's used very effectively in the terms of they only use it very slightly. Mm-hmm. So when you see her, like, he's getting ready to take his journey into hell, and she's just slowly closing that door, and you see the wind kind of wisping off her hair, and mm-hmm. It's
very well done. Man. Yeah, it's cool. Really cool. So basically, she comes back out, he comes back out, and then the next scene you see he's getting with his buddy, his sidekick, and he goes to this bar. That you have to basically psychically see what's on the other side of the card to get in. And he's talking to you look around and you see all these possessed people that are there, or they could have been vampires or whatever.
It's like vampires, angels, mm-hmm. demons. I'm sure it's just mm-hmm. Just a whole hodgepodge people just like dancing and banging.
He goes into the back room, and what was that guy's character's name?
Papa Midnight.
Papa Midnight. He's talking to him about how, like, demons aren't... Oh, yeah, but before that, he was actually attacked by a full-fledged demon. Mm-hmm. So he goes there, and he's like, demons are crossing in, not just half-breeds, like, full-on demons are coming through. And Papa Midnight's like, that's not possible. That doesn't happen. That's not possible. Well, then you turn around behind him, you see the half-breed, what was it, Balthazar, and they start to, like, have words, and then Papa Midnight's like, not in my house, you forget my rules.
I do want to mention this as well. I think this is the only movie that Gavin Rossdale has ever done. He's mm-hmm. fucking phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
If you guys don't remember, or you're not old enough to remember, he was Gwen Stefani's
He was the lead singer to Bush.
And the lead singer of Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Which I could stand. I didn't like Bush at all. Well, there's other things I want to mention too, because like, you know, there's some really cool stuff that we kind of glossed over. There's a really amazing effect, and I honestly didn't think it would hold up, but it absolutely does. But there is actually a demon that's like just made of flies.
That was the one he'd been attacked.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's just like basically just a body, just, you know, like formed in a swarm of flies and stuff, and it's a really cool effect, and it worked really well. I love the demons, like how their heads are kind of cratered in and stuff. It's really like
cool. Like you can see the brains, like rotted out brain, and
Father Hennessy, he goes to look at the body of Isabel, and he's obviously like, you know, he's got demons literally and figuratively, and he's a bit of a drunk. So he looks at her arm.
Well, he can touch things and see things.
Yes, yeah. So he's kind of got this like, you know, like religious clairvoyance, I guess. He looks at Isabel's arm, and there's actually a symbol. It's like basically like a target, which comes into play in terms of, you know, the later, you know, story or whatever. I do want to say this. I think it works really well in terms of the visual aspects of it, but man, if you just read this script, there's so much shit. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, right?
So Hennessy sees a symbol, and he freaks out, and he goes to the liquor store and tries to get a drink. And Balthazar basically does this thing where he drinks from the bottle, but nothing's coming out. And then he just, I don't know. I guess it's horrible, but at the same time, it's like, hey man, thanks. You know, like he somehow drowns his body in alcohol. And he takes a corkscrew or a wine opener that he finds on the register area of the liquor store. And he starts cutting the symbol into his hand, which we'll find out later when they check the crime scene that, you know, he was trying to leave him a message for John that, you know, hey man, you need to go look into this. So he has another friend who he's into like all this like spiritual magic and weaponry and shit, and for some reason he's like behind a bowling alley.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of jars and shit. It's a really cool set. Kind of reminds me of like you know, Kevin Spacey's like Apartment 7 or something.
Basically, you know, he's calling John Constantine. He's letting him know, hey, listen, it's the son of Satan. The son of Lucifer is trying to come through, and they have to basically use a strong psychic and the spear of destiny to bring him through, because you have to have the blood of Christ to be able to bring the son of Satan through, pretty much.
Yeah. You need a vessel, right?
You need a vessel, yeah, and it has
Isabel
to be
was supposed to be the vessel.
A strong psychic. Isabel was supposed to be the vessel. That's why she had killed herself, because she knew. She found out and she knew.
Yeah.
So basically, Rachel Weisz's character basically says, she's like, I want to see. I want to see. I want to know. So she gets into this bathtub, and John Constantine pushes her all the way down. And, you know, she's just, and then she starts to freak out and try to get out, and he won't let her up. And then it happens.
He uses the bathtub because he says it's a conduit. So, like, you know,
but
water is a
fully,
conduit. Yes.
She has to fully submerge, though, because, you know, she's reawakening her psychic abilities.
Well, I think it's also the fact that, like, you know, she's drowning. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's, like, half living, half dead at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, once she's able to just kind of break free from that fear, that's kind of when, you know, it kind of triggers, you know, where
I think what happens is, you know, obviously she goes to hell and she comes back out, and then it's like her whole demeanor changes. She's like, oh my God, all those people. And then she's like,
I wish I knew something. I want to know how long Rachel was under that water.
Right. And then she's like, he was here. He left something small, something shiny. And it's like, it clicks. So they run back into the one guy's workshop, which he'd been killed by Balthazar, by the way. Balthazar killed him.
Yeah.
And they found Balthazar's coin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she basically like turns into like a heavenly bloodhound and like finds his fucking quarter.
Well, you begin to realize that she's just as much of a psychic as her sister was.
Right.
Her and John Constantine are going back to Papa Midnight's. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells her stay in the car, and he puts an amulet around her neck to keep her safe.
I don't think that was Papa Midnight's. I think it was just a building, just you know.
I think that was Papa Midnight's. Anyways, he goes in and he's going after Balthazar.
No, it wasn't Papa Midnight's because it was actually just a regular building. It kind of looked like, you know, like an office, like that'd be in like RoboCop or something.
Right.
What I really thought was an interesting touch, though, was that like for some reason, the office that Balthazar's in, there's a bunch of American flags on the screen. So I'm curious if that's just to kind of like showcase without really saying anything. Like he's just, you know, like maybe he's like influential in politics and stuff and all the bad stuff that goes on in the world.
I don't know.
That's just my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
I do want to mention this as well, you know, when it comes to characterization not being recognized, but great actress Michelle Monaghan. She was actually in this movie. She does show up for the one scene, you know, where he basically turns into Blade all of a sudden, but she was supposed to be a really prominent character in this movie. She's a very storied character in the comic series. Apparently, she was a disgraced demon that Constantine was actually having sex with and was getting information from in the movie. In the books, I guess she was disgraced because she sired a child with an angel or something like that.
Oh Lord.
You know, yeah, oh Lord, for sure. But yeah, all her shit was cut.
Oh, okay. Well, that sucks.
So there is a deleted scene where like Michelle Monaghan is like literally like in bed with John, but that's it.
Yeah. So basically John Constantine busts up into this building, goes after Balthazar. They get in this huge ass fight, and then he gives Balthazar his last rites.
With the cross gun.
So he gives him his last rites so he could go to heaven. This half-breed demon sending him to heaven. And then...
First of all, he uses a cross gun, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And actually, during the interview that I just saw recently, the 20th anniversary interview, apparently the director, like, because he showed it on his Zoom camera, he still owns a prop of that gun.
Oh, awesome.
Because I guess during the filming, Keanu had actually gotten made for him by the prop department as a gift.
Aww.
Because this is the kind of dude Keanu Reeves is.
Yeah, because that gun's awesome.
Fucking fantastic. But anyway,
awesome.
He also uses holy brass knuckles to beat the shit out of Balthazar. So he kicks ass for the Lord, literally.
Kicking ass for the Lord.
But obviously, the whole thing with Balthazar, you know, what would be the worst thing for a demon to go?
To heaven. This is his last rites, and you know, Rachel Weisz actually comes in and she saves John Constantine. And then Balthazar tells him the only thing we needed was a strong psychic. He's like, John Constantine, well, you don't have that. And he's like, actually, you brought her right to us.
Yeah.
Brought her right to us.
And this poor woman, you know, like, obviously, I mean, I don't understand where that comes from, where that tension comes from, but like, every time he like is in the vicinity of her, like he'll be like this, and then she'll like get real close, like he's gonna kiss her, and he's just like trying to put a necklace around her to protect her or something like that.
Yeah,
she really wants this dude.
It's not gonna happen. Yeah,
she wants this guy. So he gives her this amulet, which what was the symbol?
I don't know, but she forgot about it and she left it in the car.
Because she's a tough woman, and
I don't need that shit.
Well, she just says, you know, like, you know, hey, wear this, stay in the car, men.
Right.
You know?
So basically, Balthazar is like, yeah, you gave us what we needed. And then, so they go to walk away, and Balthazar ends up turning to ash. Like, he thought he was going to go back, he was going to go down to hell, but no. He becomes nothing. Rachel Weisz is standing there and she's like, I feel weird. And a hole opens up and drags her through. At this point, John Constantine's like, what the fuck? So,
dude, she gets ripped through half a fucking building. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Then what you see next is him with his sidekick going back to Papa Midnight's.
Yeah, the character Shia LaBeouf plays is Chaz. So Chaz is just some young dude that's like an apprentice. And
Chaz, asshole.
he just wants to,
He wants to be John Constantine.
he wants to be John Constantine. He likes us too.
So basically, at that point, he's like, okay, he goes to Papa Midnight, and he's like, I need to use the chair. Papa Midnight's like, I can't help you.
Right. There's a very important thing we missed in this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
We did mention that, we had the argument whether he was alive or dead or not, but he did attempt to commit suicide because he was seeing things when he was a little boy. He ended up in hell for like 2 minutes. You said it was an eternity, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why he is so important is because Lucifer himself wants him real fucking bad. Like, this is his conquest. Nobody else is taking this guy.
And they keep saying that John Constantine is the only one that Lucifer would come up himself to take back down to hell.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But of course, John doesn't want to go because, pretty much like Balthazar going to heaven. Like, if you were a cop, would you want to go to a prison where, half the inmates are yours, that you incarcerated yourself? Probably not.
So John Constantine gets in the chair. He sees the grand plan. And then he gets out of the chair, and him, Papa Midnight, and Chaz all get their weapons together, and it's time to go.
The grand plan is wild. Spear of Destiny connects to Isabel. Isabel is the vessel for Manon, which is actually Satan's child. Because Isabel is dead, it's actually now connected to her, her sister.
But they have to use
her sister's now the vessel, and Gabriel is trying to bring on destruction. So has
to
do
true
with
believers.
Yeah, so the true believers.
So humans can actually be worthy of God's love.
It's a lot of fucking content, is what I'm saying.
But they have to use the Spear of Destiny to stab into Isabel's body to bring Manon through. You see John Constantine and his little buddy going back to the psych ward is what it is.
Yep.
And you tell them about this scene. This scene is freaking awesome.
All right, so basically, this scene is awesome, but it's so out of place because, first of all, this is the only time you see Michelle Monaghan as his character. She says holy water, and then he, lights up his thing. The fire, sprinkler, basically turns into holy water, right? Or
they blessed it, yeah.
And he starts using his gun, and he's fucking shooting, and they're basically just disintegrating and shit. And it's like, I seen this fucking movie before, and it starred Wesley Snipes. So it's just so weird that was kind of planted in there for me because, dude, you know what you're doing.
Right.
We know what you're doing. This was a production note for sure. We get back to the psych ward. We find out that the Mexican traveler who's possessed by the demon is actually Gabriel. She is trying to do this thing with the spear, put it into Angela Dodson, Rachel Weisz's character, to bring on, destruction and the devil's son, right? So then Constantine gets there, and he sees there's a lot of pool stuff in this movie. I don't know why. But I guess because of the conduits, right? Yeah. But yeah, Rachel Weisz is possessed. It's just like, the scene in Army of Darkness. You used to love me before, honey. You got real ugly. So, they're doing their whole thing, right? And then, yeah.
And then him and Chaz.
I'll be real honest with you. I think this ending is a fucking mess.
Yeah. Well, him and Chaz are trying to get this demon Manon out of her. And then they think they're okay. And then Chaz is like, it's Chaz, asshole.
Yeah.
And
just like John Constantine, his first words were asshole too.
And he gets thrown into the ceiling, and bam, 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 Chaz dies.
Yeah, Chaz dead.
Chaz dead. And then John Constantine gets thrown across the room.
Mhm.
And as he's dying,
Okay, hang on a second. So this is wonderful, okay? Because there's many interpretations.
oh wait, Gabriel slits his wrists.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the introduction of Lucifer, wonderfully played by Peter Stormare, who is one of my favorite character actors. Everything this guy does is gold, and probably one of my favorite interpretations of Satan. My other one is actually Viggo Mortensen. Do you remember him playing Satan?
Oh, what movie?
In the movie where Christopher Walken plays an angel of prophecy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But this is awesome. So he's got a white suit. He's got, it's early 2000s. He's got fucking tribal tattoos going up his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got this black oil like on his feet.
And on his hands, too.
And on his hands, too, yeah.
So
really
he
awesome.
pulls up a chair and he's like, you slit your wrists, right? And everything. You're the only one I would come up here for. Lights a cigarette for John Constantine. He's like, when you slit your wrists, you just can't grip. Here, let me put this in your mouth for you. And then John Constantine's like, how's the family? Oh, it's great. He's like, you know what? You've waited all this time for me. What's 20 more seconds? Look behind you.
And he's getting real close to his ear, and he's like he's gonna take Constantine back to hell to fuck him.
He's like, I got a whole playground for you, a whole thing for you.
Oh yeah, he does.
He's
got a whole 50 Shades room waiting for John Constantine. John Constantine tells him, hey man, Gabriel's in the other room doing the shit. And he's just like, you're a fucking liar. He's like, why don't you go check? Go see for yourself.
And then then Gabriel stabs the spear down, obviously into nothing, because Rachel Weisz isn't there.
Yeah, he moves her.
And and then
he just burns her wings off.
Well, he's like, she's like, you vile, terrible, horrible, says a bunch of other things.
Sure.
And goes to stab him, and she can't. Or he can't.
Yeah,
they can't.
Yeah. Lucifer says, I love you. The vile one, the defiler and all this shit. But so basically, like, if you ever seen Kevin Smith's Dogma, he burns off Tilda Swinton's wings. And she's human.
Yep.
And then there's a whole thing with John Constantine and Lucifer, and he's just like, all right, I'm taking your ass
first thing, he drags Manon back down to hell, leaves Rachel Weisz's body there. He goes back to go get John Constantine, because that's his prize. And he's like, all right, what do you want? He's like, just let her live. Let her live. Take me and just let her live. Don't take her. And he's like, he's like, fine. It's like, fine. And then he grabs John Constantine by the feet. And he starts to drag him. And then all of a sudden, it's like the floor buckles and he can't drag him anymore.
Yeah, the floor basically kind of cements him down. And then he's getting ready to die, and he goes up to heaven. And
he flips him off.
Flips him off as he's going up.
And he's like, Lucifer's like, oh, shit, the sacrifice.
That's right. He sacrificed himself for the first time.
Yes, he sacrificed.
So he gets what he wants. And then Lucifer's like, bitch. And he fucking brings him back down.
And then what he does is he grabs him, and he's like, no, you're going to live. And he reaches his hands into his chest, rips the cancer out, and heals his wrists.
Yep.
So John Constantine's not dying. He's gonna stay alive. He's like, you're gonna earn going to hell. He's like, no, this one's mine. You're not going yet.
Yeah.
If I can't have you, you're gonna live.
Sure. And then we have this conversation with Rachel Weisz, and he gives her the spirit of destiny. Go take this somewhere. Don't even tell me about it. And then she's like getting ready for a kiss, and clearly he's like, hey man.
No, she walks away. She walks away.
Well, she's trying to kiss him, and then he just goes, I got to clean up some things. And she goes, we'll see each other another time. He goes, I like that. She walks away, and boom, that's the movie.
That's the end of the movie.
I didn't know this until recently, because I have not watched this movie as much as you are. I'm not as hardcore about it as you are. But there is a scene where John Constantine goes to Chaz's grave, and sees Chaz in angelic form. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, hell.
Yep. So yeah, so clearly, Constantine knows that his boy is,
now an angel.
Yeah, he's an angel. He's a guardian angel. Anything else to say about the movie? I mean,
it's fucking
awesome.
In 20 years, it's awesome.
I do want to mention this before we end here. There is a really great song by Perfect Circle that's in this movie, and I had some weird Mandela thing go on in my brain, because I thought, just like Spawn or The Crow or like movies like that, I thought there was some blazing soundtrack attached to fucking Constantine, but it's only one fucking song.
Yeah.
This is an awesome flick. I like it.
It is, yeah.
Happy 20th anniversary. It definitely deserves its flowers. I'm glad that it's gotten the following that it's gotten. There's
definitely
lot of
a cult following.
Yeah. A lot of fans of this movie. But yeah, that's it for us. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us. And tell them what we're doing next week, Beep Boop.
We are talking about Companion.
It's so early in the year, but this is one of my favorite movies that have come out this year, so far.
It's good.
I love it.
It's really good.
I absolutely love it. And I don't know. Maybe we'll have a sex bot here next week.
Maybe not. Maybe you're not that lucky.
I'm going to power you down now.
Go to sleep.
And we will scare you later, guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
There have been 2 moments in my life when I was happiest. The first was the day I met Josh.
I'm Josh.
I'm Iris. And the second, the day I killed him.
Just relax. Remember to smile and act happy. Do they know? Iris, wake up.
What are you doing? Shut her down already.
What is she talking about, Josh?
This was not part of the plan.
I didn't mean to.
Did you jailbreak your sex bot?
Wow, Josh. The days of you controlling me are over.
Are you breaking up with me?
It's not you. It's me.
Yeah, she's tied up inside, so she's not going anywhere.
Eli, Iris.
Shh, baby, you're on the phone.